Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and just to quickly let you know, Amazon Prime Video is now available globally, and with Amazon Prime Video you get a free Twitch sub. It's called Twitch Prime basically, and that gives you a free subscription to someone on Twitch, which normally would cost $5, and that subscription then gives the content creator that you subscribe to some money every month, and also gives you some emotes on Twitch. And I just wanted to mention this because obviously I'm a Twitch partner, which means you can actually subscribe to me on Twitch. And you know, even if you're not someone who watches Twitch at all, if you want to support me as a content creator and you have Twitch or Amazon Prime Video, you can always support me by subscribing. So I just wanted to mention that in case any of you guys are interested. You know, no pressure or anything, but if you are, then I totally appreciate it. The only thing with Twitch Prime subscriptions is that you have to manually renew them to the channel that you want to subscribe to on Twitch every month. So just, you know, to let you know. Anyway, let's jump to the video now. You can call me a sellout in the comments, but let's jump to the video. And today's deck is likely going to be nerfed, and it's probably going to be announced tonight on CDPR's stream. It's happening at 9 PM CEST, but that is the Nilfgaard John Calveit tempo deck. This deck was originally popularized by Mega Mogwai, who is a great content creator. If you haven't checked him out, there will be a link to his channel below. But this is kind of my iteration of it. I've kind of looked at the deck, and this is the one I like to run. And I say like to run. This is another one of those decks that people are going to be like, this is a scum deck. I hate you. I hate it. Why? Cancer. Like, this is that deck, basically. So this is the John Calveit tempo deck. And effectively, it's a tempo deck in that you have cards that play other cards, and you can get very big point swings by playing like few cards, which you can use to win round 1. Then round 2 you can bleed out most of your opponent's cards, and then round 3 you can play specific gold cards to win the game. And because you have so many cards in this deck that play other cards, you're basically guaranteed to find all of your gold cards. Like, I don't think I've ever played a game of this deck where I haven't played all of my gold cards, so just keep that in mind. But this is the deck. Our leader John Calveit, spawn John Calveit, so you play your 4 strength John on the board, and then deploy. Look at the top 3 cards in your deck, play one and place the others back. Hey look, it's a card which plays another card. So your leader ability is a card that plays a card. And what's important about this is that you don't shuffle your deck after you put those cards back. So the other 2 cards that you didn't pick, they are going to be on the top of your deck, so you now know what is on the top of your deck. And I think that's definitely important, just something to be aware of, because then you know what you're drawing going into rounds 2 or 3 if you play it late, but this is typically a round 1 play, to be honest. So you know what's on the top of your deck, and I think that's just something useful to bear in mind. Now, John Calveit, you look at the top 3 cards in your deck, you play one and place the others back. I wonder what we could find. Potentially, we can find Cahir. Deploy, if Nilfgaard, which you are, trigger your leader deploy ability. So if you find Cahir, you then play out Cahir, and Cahir, he then triggers your leader ability again. So you get to look at the cards. They haven't changed. The 2 of them will be the same, and there'll be 1 new one. So bear that in mind, because obviously you know what's at the top of your deck. And then you get to play one of those cards. So that's something to be aware of. And also bear in mind that if you play Cahir and you see Roach, summon this unit on a random row whenever you play a gold card, excluding leaders. Bear in mind that if you play John Calveit, and you see Roach and you see Cahir, if you then play Cahir, Roach will still be one of the choices. She doesn't get pulled till after you make a choice. So just be aware of that. But basically, we then have Roach, which is a silver card. Summon this unit on a random row whenever you play a gold card. So that's another way we can get tempo. So we could play, say, John Calveit, which then plays Cahir, which then pulls Roach out of your deck. So that's another, 10 points from that. Then Cahir also plays a card, so then we pick another card from our deck to play. And then also, because we've played our leader ability, we then summon our Imperial Golems. Imperial Golems orders, which triggers when you play your leader ability, summon this unit. So we get 9 strength from our Golems, 4 from John Calveit, guaranteed. So when we play our leader ability, we're basically guaranteed 13 points, plus whatever card we pull. So you can kind of see how this quickly is getting tempo. In an optimal situation, you could get John Calveit, 3 Imperial Golems, Roach, Cahir, and 1 other card on the board. So that's a lot of power from 1 play, and this is why it's kind of ridiculous. And honestly, I feel like Golems, you also then thin your deck by 3 cards. You pull the Golems out of your deck. So, even with no value, like no points attached, you're still thinning your deck. Like, they still have value. And I definitely think this is one of the cards we're going to be see get changed in tonight's live stream. But anyway, play this deck while you can. So back to our gold cards. That's kind of the tempo strategy you're using to win round 1, and then you basically keep going until your opponent passes, more or less. But we then also have Ciri, round end, Brave. If this unit is on the board, return it to your hand. So this is a really nice card you can play round 1 to force them to pass after you've done a tempo play. But it's also a really nice card to play round 2 because you play her out and then you get her back for round 3. So she's nice in that sense. Again, she also will pull Roach out of your deck if you haven't done that already. And it's a really valuable card that once you learn kind of the nuances of how to play her, you often want to put her in a deck just to have card advantage, because I feel like in the current meta of Gwent, you know, having card advantage is really, really crucial, and having more than one card that can give you card advantage, such as Cantarella and Ciri, is important. Cantarella, deploy, it's a spy, so you play it on your opponent's side. You see this little red eye, that means spy. Draw a card, including golds. Keep it or place it at the bottom of your deck and draw another. So basically, if you don't take the card on top, it's liable to go to the bottom of your deck, and you won't probably see it that game, but it's card draw, which is nice. So you play a card and draw a card, which means your net change of cards is 0, compared to your opponent. If they play a unit down, then they've gone down 1 card. So you can use it to kind of get card advantage, especially on that round 2, which you don't need to win anyway, because you only need to win 2 of the 3 rounds. Back to our gold cards, we then have our kind of round 3 win condition. We have Villain Trettenmirth, timer 3. So after 3 turns, he will destroy the highest units on the board, not including gold cards. And because we're in round 3 and we've played most of our units, you know, we have our 6 points from Villain Trettenmirth. And what this means is that if your opponent plays anything kind of big, or, you know, just anything bronze or silver, to be honest, in the final round, we can then destroy it, because what we're going to then play is Tibor. Tibor, deploy, clash. Clash triggers if your opponent hasn't passed. So we play Clash, we play Tibor, he's 10 strength. If the opponent hasn't passed, he's 15 strength. And then your opponent draws and reveals a bronze card. So you get to see what the card that is that they draw. And typically, you know, it's not worth the 25 points that Tibor is. And because he's gold, you know, he's very hard to target. There's only a few ways that you can target him. With stuff like Dimmeritium Bomb and Dimmeritium Shackles. So between, you know, then Villain Trettenmirth and Tibor, you're going to have a pretty good time. The only thing to be aware of, obviously, is if they then use their Shackles on your Tibor, then your Villain Trettenmirth will remove Tibor. But honestly, this doesn't typically happen very often. And as long as you're kind of aware of your opponent's card, and you've kind of drained a lot of their cards in the previous round, you're usually pretty safe with this play. But just something to be aware of, that there is the risk that Villain Trettenmirth will burn your Tibor if they make that silver. But those are our gold cards. Then onto our silver cards, we have Asir van Anahid. Deploy, shuffle up to 2 cards from your graveyard into your deck. And I like this because this is a 10 strength play, and you can use it to put Roach back into your deck, which means you can get value out of her in the 2nd or 3rd round, depending on when you find her. So I like this for that. You can also put some bronze cards back in your deck if you want to, and you've thinned your deck completely, but you know that there's an Emissary in there to make sure that that gets drawn. But, you know, mostly I just use this to put Roach back into your deck. Alternate, this is the one that's maybe swap outable. Like ultimate silvers, you could put in Dimmeritium Bomb, I mentioned. You could run, you know, your Scorches if you fancy. You could run Decoy. Decoy is actually really nice in this deck as well, because you can use that to replay Rot Tossers and some of your other silver cards. So that's a viable switch for Asir. I just like her because she's got, you know, a decent amount of points, and she has, you know, synergy with Roach. Other cards, there's that Golem that you get that puts, you know, 2 silver 6 strength golems on the top of your opponent's deck. That card can work. Cynthia can work. She's, you know, got potential for quite a lot of points as well. So, you know, this is the probably most flexible, I would say, silver card in this deck in terms of ones that you can switch out. Then we have Orcs. Deploy, toggle 2 units lock if enemies also damage them by 1. So this is like better Cleaver. Cleaver deploys, toggles the lock on 1 unit. Orcs toggles the lock on 2 units. Lock is basically like silence. It disables a card's abilities, and it also disables and reveals ambushes. And we get to do this on 2 targets, which is, you know, invariably more useful than doing it on 1. And at the cost of 2 points, it's totally worth it compared to the Cleaver's 6. Then we have Peter Sar Gwynleve, who is worth at minimum 9 points. Deploy, reset a unit. If it's an ally, strengthen it by 3. If it's an enemy, weaken it by 3. And I say minimum of 9 because worst comes to worst, you hit a base strength unit and either remove 3 points if it's an enemy, or you hit a friendly unit and give it 3 points, which gives you 9 points in total because he's worth 6. However, you reset a unit. So in the meta where you get lots of buffed units, for example, maybe Dwarf deck or the Dolblathana Protectors, if you watched my Spell Special deck guide from yesterday, this is, you know, he's got lots of potential targets, so he's 9 points, potentially lots more points. And I think this is a really good card, and this is actually a starter card as well, which is, you know, really nice. And last but not least, we do have Swears. Swears, deploy, choose a bronze enemy or a revealed opposing bronze unit, and move all copies of it from your opponent's deck to your graveyard. So this guy is 7 points, but can potentially be really, really useful for, you know, negatively affecting your opponent's strategy. So, for example, if you're up against a Reaver Hunter deck, you can use it to put all the Reaver Hunters in the graveyard, which is nice. You can use it to put, say, Priestess of Freyr if you're up against Skellige in the graveyard. There's kind of lots of different situations where Swears can be really valuable. And that's, like, why I like to run him, because even though he's not necessarily always going to be a huge number of discards for your opponent, he's still going to be 7 points, and the situations where he is useful, he's really useful. So that's why I like him in here. Okay, so on to our bronze cards. I've already mentioned Golems, but we also have Emissary. This is a spying unit, so you play this on your opponent's side of the board, give them 2 points, and then draw 2 bronze units other than Emissary, play one, and shuffle the other back into your deck. So you get to basically pick the one that you see there. So you get 2 units, pick one, play it. And this is really nice, just because it's, you know, cards that play other cards. You can kind of see how easily we can thin our deck here with stuff like Emissary, with Cahir, with Arlido, with Imperial Golems, with Cantarella, with Roach. Like, there's so much deck thinning going on. And because they're spies, they also synergize with our Imperial Brigades, which we have 2 of. Boost self by 2 whenever you play a spying unit. Deploy boost self by 2 for each spying unit. So this guy, when he's on the field, if there's already spying units on the field on the opposite side, then he gets boosted for each of those. And then whenever you play another spying unit, it gets boosted for each of those. So this is, you know, a way to rack up some points with synergy with Emissary, which is really nice. And it also synergizes really nicely with Rot Tosser, because the cow carcass that you spawn from a Rot Tosser is actually a spying unit. So Rot Tosser is a 6 strength siege unit, and then you throw a cow carcass to your opponent's side of the board, and then after 2 turns, it destroys the lowest strength unit or units, if there's a tie, on that row, and then vanishes itself. So that's got synergies with Imperial Brigade, as well as being a pain in the ass, because then they have to deal with your cow carcass that's going to kill their units. So yeah, really strong card as well. What else we got in here? So we've got the 1 Vic of Aromatic. I like Vic of Aromatic. You could potentially take out Alzur's Thunder and put another one in, but Vic of Aromatic, deploy, resurrect a bronze unit from your opponent's graveyard. So you can use this to just take cards from your opponent. It's really good against Skellige, for example, which obviously has a lot of cards in their graveyard that they particularly want. And I think, like, at least 1 Vic of Aromatic is always good. Preferably, you know, you can run 2 if you took out, say, Alzur's Thunder or one of your weather counters, but I think weather counters are also important. And this is just what I like to run. I like just at least one of them. And it's generally a good card. Then we have our weather counters. So we have First Light, spawn Clear Skies or Rally. Clear Skies will remove all weather effects from our side. It says trigger all weather on your side, but I swear whenever I play this, it never actually triggers the effect, because they automatically trigger at the start of my turn anyway, so removing weather doesn't trigger it. And, you know, if there's no weather, you can always use this Rally to play a random bronze unit from your deck. So again, it's a card that can play another card. We've then got our 2 Nausicaa Standard Bearers. Deploy, boost 1 ally or revealed unit in your hand by 3 and clear weather from the row. So this removes weather and is also worth 7 points, which is nice. And again, you can find it with the Emissary. So, you know, if they happen to play weather and you don't have weather removal, then the Emissary can find you the Standard Bearer. So that's why I like 2 of these rather than 2 First Lights. And then we have 1 Alzur's Thunder. Damage a unit by 7. So this is just used for removal. But yeah, that is the deck. That is Tempo John Calveit. I'll jump into a game and show you in action. It's pretty disgusting. Check out the CDPR stream tonight, because I think it's going to be nerfed. And if you like this deck guide or my YouTube content, even if you don't necessarily like this deck, which I do understand, then do hit that thumbs up button, guys. Without further ado, I will jump into a game and I'll showcase this deck in action for you guys.
Men of Kedwen, attack!
I forgive you. This time.
Okay, so we're up against Henselt, which I always think means Reaver Hunters. So if we can find Swears, you know, that's really good. In terms of our mulligan, we're going to mulligan Roach. We've got Cahir in hand, so she'll get pulled this round anyway. We got Ciri, which is nice. And then if you've got any of those golems, you're going to want to get rid of them, basically. Emissary. Vic of Aromatic we can get rid of, because we'll not need that till the later round. And then there's a golem, we'll get rid of him. And we got Tibor. So we actually already got 3 of our golden cards here. The only one we actually really need to find is Villain Treads and Mirth. And we don't necessarily need Swears till the final round. So it's our turn. So let's start off with our tempo play. So I'm going to take John Calveit, and I'm going to put him on the far right here in this row, because this just helps against Skellige Storm as a little bit of protection if they do choose to hit this row. Our choices are Roach, Rot Tosser, or Swears. We don't want to play Swears this round, and Roach is going to get pulled by Cahir, so we're going to take the Rot Tosser. What this does mean is that when we play Cahir, it's going to give us a choice of Roach or Swears. So that's just something to be worth being aware of. We'll play the Rot Tosser down, and then we'll throw out our cow carcass. And you might think, you know, maybe this cow carcass is useless because, you know, there's nothing on that row. But what we can do is we can put Cantarella out on that row. And if we put Cantarella out on that row, then the cow carcass will actually kill Cantarella. So that's a potential play here. Rather than playing Cantarella round 2, which we intend to lose, we can play her now. Bear in mind, we know that she's going to offer us Roach or Swears. So we then play Cantarella. And Cantarella's like, do you want Roach? And I'm like, no, I don't want Roach. But I know that then if I get rid of this, I then pull Swears. So you can see just like how remembering what those cards are is good. And Roach is now at the bottom of our deck. But, you know, she's going to get pulled when we play Cahir anyway. So this is totally fine. Then you can see the Rot Tosser triggers and actually removes Cantarella. So we actually played her without giving them any points. And at this point, we then play Cahir, and we know that we'll get 3 new cards to play. And we can choose to play Villain Mirth, which we're going to draw in the next round, so we don't want to play that. Or a Nausicaa Standard or Alza's Thunder. I'm just going to take Alza's Thunder and take out one of their K20 siege supports. Because by doing that, they stop basically buffing their opponent. Because whenever they play an ally, it buffs them. That's kind of what's going on there. And you can see we've pulled Roach. And honestly, he should pass here. We are so far ahead. We have 9 cards and he has 8.
What do you want?
So what I'm going to do here is pass. If he wants to win the round, you know, he could play more cards. But he'd have to go 2-card disadvantage if he wants to win the game. He needs to get 10 points in the next round, in the next card, in order to just catch up. He needs to get 11 points to win the round. And we are, you know, nicely ahead. So honestly, at this stage in the game, I'm happy just passing. You could, you know, play Ciri to try and force them to pass, because then if they keep trying to catch you up, you know, then you'll get Ciri back. But as it is, he's gone for it. He's gone for 2-card disadvantage in order to try and get the win there with Vernon Roche. Deploy, damage enemy by 3 if it was destroyed, spawn a blue stripe commando. This is actually quite nice against golems, to be honest. But all in all, I'm not bothered that I lost that round. I mean, yes, when I was describing the deck, I said you want to win round 1. But you either want to win round 1 or you pass with tempo. And I think passing with tempo is, you know, what we've ended up doing there. And it's totally fine. So in terms of our mulligan, I'm going to get rid of one of our Nausicaa Standard Bearers. I don't think we need this much weather clear against this deck. You know, the weather clear is really only for Roach. And you can see here, he's just straight pass. He's just like, I don't want to, you know, play you, basically. And this is quite funny. This is quite funny, but it does mean that Villain Mirth is going to be a bit awkward in the final round. And I have to decide what it is that I want to play here to win the round. I'm thinking we just play Ciri. We could just play Ciri. The alternative is we play an Emissary and pull something from our deck. But we can do that on the next round, so I think we play Ciri. The risk is we play Villain Mirth and don't get value out of him. That is definitely a risk. Because I'm gonna have, you know, the Imperial Brigade. So actually, I think we're gonna just play Bork for now. Because I want to play him, because I'm not going to get the value out of him I would if I'd won round 1. Because normally what I would do is win round 1, bleed round 2, and round 3 play Villain Mirth and Tibble. So we'll do that and then we'll pass. And you can see he's really trying to get his card advantage back. He's taken 2-card disadvantage and then given me this round quite easily to try and, you know, counter that fact. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. Vic of Aramedic is nice. What's in here? I can't see because I have to mulligan. I think what we will mulligan is maybe the Vic of Aramedic, because we'll probably find it with an Emissary, to be honest. I've got a Nausicaa Standard Bearer. That was kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. Our turn. What do we want to open with? So I think what we'll do is we'll start with Emissary.
A shame I have no
Put that in the middle there. Into Imperial Brigade. Put that on our side. And he'll get buffed by the fact that we have an Emissary. And we can have a quick look what's in his graveyard. The K20 Siege support is probably the most useful thing to pull there, to be honest. We can lock this with Orcs, but we want to have, you know, a second target, which would be nice. So I'll put another Emissary out. Just stacking these on one row, which is useful. Into, we could go Vicavara, we could go a second Impera. I think we'll go for the second Impera because it's going to give us points, but then we're a little bit risky with that strategy because what that does is it then means that they'll both have the same amount of strength and be on the same row, which is kind of risky. So actually, I think we'll go Vicavara Medic, just because I don't want to have 2 10s on the same row, and we'll take his K20. I'll put this in the back row. I'm just trying to spread my units out a little bit here. Spreading units out is risky because you're going to get, you're likely to get Ragnarok, and that means I'll get 9 value out of Ragnarok. But if you row stack, then it makes it easier for them to play Igni. So that's just like, you know, what you have to be aware of here.
Your will be done.
And maybe we row stack simply because we have Nausicaa Standard Bearers. That's the other option. I'm guessing my 10 is getting zapped. Oh no. So he must have something that he thinks he can use to deal with the 10, basically. So that's worth being kind of aware of. There's nothing I want to make him discard yet, so that's the other thing. We can always reset one of his units. I think I'm going to play Asir, and I'm going to put the Roach back into my hand, basically, so I can play her again. And end selection. And the thing is, like, he's played this in such a way that, you know, I was going to say I didn't really get to thin my deck, but I did, because, you know, there's only 4 cards left in it. So, and one of those is Roach. So we still got down to 3 cards, you know. One of those will be an Emissary as well, which we didn't find, but it's not the end of the world.
But we're broke as shit peddlers.
And you can see here he has nothing that he can target with his Reaver Scout, so like putting them out is not really, you know, crazy useful. We can play Ciri to pull Roach. I'm just thinking if we wanna Rot Toss or anything, but there's nothing I think we really want to Rot Toss right now. And there's nothing we really want to lock. We can allow this to continue because I was gonna say we had one, but I think it died. Let's just play Ciri. I'll play her in the middle row.
Yield and save me some time.
And then you can see we pulled Roach, which is nice. So we got lots of points here. And I'm kind of waiting with Tibor, because the thing with Tibor is if he has Dimmertium Shackles, then he can like unlock my Tibor and try and remove it. So Tibor's definitely like a last card play. You don't want to play him too early. Okay, so this guy's going to be boosting units on the adjacent sides and stuff. This isn't really a good target for Swears either, unfortunately. But we can lock him, so let's play Orcs now.
There is no escape.
We'll lock this, and we'll lock this. And that just makes our lives a little bit easier. We also shoot them. This guy, he has armor, so it doesn't really help, but it is what it is. So he still hasn't played Henselt to pull all of one card from his deck, and we're really waiting till we see a Reaver Hunter, because I honestly think that Reaver Hunter is the card that he's going to want to use his Henselt on. So we need to wait until we see him play one, because he can't Henselt something until he's played one of them. Our problem, to be honest, is this 2-strength unit here means that our Rot Tosser isn't going to be that useful. I'm going to just play a Nausicaa Standard-Bearer for the time being. We'll play it on the back row, which will then total 19. And then we'll buff our Vic of Aromatic. So I'm not going to buff, the buff target, because that's going to be a bit silly. The only problem here is we have 2 10s, which means that if he does choose to Scorch, we're going to be in an awkward spot. This is Commander's Horn, Lightning Potion. It's not really surprising. Not really surprising at all. But we can reset these guys, so that's something worth being aware of. There's still nothing I want to make him discard. I could reset, but it's not really that worthwhile. So the question is, do we throw Rot Tosser and not hit a very good target? We can hit a 2 or a 4. Or do we... I think we throw Rot Tosser and just hit the 4. I mean, the alternative strategy is we play Weather Removal, but then if he plays Weather, we can't get rid of it. We could play Peter, but I'd rather give him some time to buff his units a bit more before we reset them.
Blind, greedy fool.
It's gonna be a Reaver Scout. Hey, look, it's a Reaver Scout. This is absolutely fine. Go on, play your Reaver Scout. Because what he's got 2 Reaver Scouts in hand, right? And what he wants to do is he wants to play one and then pull the rest from his deck with Henselt. But the problem I have here is that he's got 2, but that's not really a problem, because then, hey, look, it's your good friend Swears. He's gonna make you discard all of your Reaver Hunters. Oh, isn't that a shame? They're not in your deck anymore. And that's why we held on to Swears, because I know what he's gonna do. I know what his strategy is. And you can see him just mousing over Swears like, what does this do? And what that means is that he can't Henselt his Reaver Hunter because they're not in his hand anymore, so he's gonna have to pull something different. And he's pulled one of those. Which is useful but not amazing, basically. Right, one of these is a Reaver Hunter. Is one of them Weather? If it is, it is. I think we go for Peter here. And debuff one of his units. We'll debuff this one. I would have liked to leave it so I could debuff the Redanian Knight a little bit more, but it is what it is. He's going to get the value out of this. But we have, Tibor in hand and Nausicaa Standard-Bearer.
Let's go.
He does get that value. If it's Weather, he's only going to get 9 points out of it. So let's play this. Who has the strongest unit? I do. We'll play it on this row. And we'll buff. I'm just thinking how I can do this tactically. This row doesn't add up. If he's going to Igni, I'll Igni one of these. I'm going to buff the Vic of Aromatic again. Actually, no, I'm going to buff Orcs. I'd rather kind of spread my buffs out a little bit so not every unit is buffed. What's your last card?
Elves must die!
Clear Skies. So, at this point, he's going to get points from that if he buffs. But we didn't even need to play Tibor. This is how strong this deck is. And I knew what he was running. And I feel like, look, he's not giving me a GG. Go on, send me a GG. There it is. I was going to say, just because I discarded your Reaper Hunters. But I kind of knew what his strategy was. That's the kind of standard Henselt strategy. Anyway, we'll jump into another game. And I'll show you this deck once more.
I shall not repeat Emir's mistakes.
Okay, so we are up against Dagon, which means weather. So if we have any counter weather cards in hand, that would be really good. We don't need Roach and we don't need Golems here. There's a counter weather card, which is quite nice. We got a lot of silver cards here, Jesus Christ. But what this means is we don't have that much bronze. I'm just thinking if that's, that useful. I'm tempted to mulligan Asir and find her later, just to see what kind of other bronze cards we can find. Second Standard Bearer. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to risk drawing a Golem, which you can risk here. And I think just trading out silver for some anti-weather is not bad. Okay, so here we go. Pull our Golems. Pop out John Calveit on the end. Again, this is just as a stopper for what's it called? A stopper for Skellige Storm into an Emissary. We'll put this. Where do you typically play units? You typically play units. Basically, I'm thinking if I want to throw out a cow carcass, I don't want the Emissary to be on that row. A lot of them go in the back row and front row, so we'll put this in the middle.
Your humble servant.
And we'll pull an Imperial Brigade. And we'll place that on this far end so that, again, it doesn't get hit by Skellige Storm. And you can see he got buffed. Hey, look, weather. Fortunately for us, we have a Nausicaa Standard Bearer. And we'll buff... I don't want 2 6s, really, so I'm going to buff the Imperial Brigade. Like, I'd rather have 1 9 than 2 6s, just in case he has Igni. And there's some more weather. I'm guessing this is a fog deck. The problem is we don't have any more removal if we play our second Nausicaa Standard Bearer. So, you know, if he does fog us again, we're going to have to just deal with it. But ultimately, for round 1, because we want to win this round, I feel like we just go for it. And now we can buff a different unit. So let's buff you. And you can see they got different amounts of strength. I probably should have played these at this end rather than that end because of John Calveit and the Skellige Storm thing. Hey, look, this villain Trettenmirth. I guess he's trying to force me to pass, but the thing is, like, if he wants to win this round, you know, he has to play more cards. So I'm quite happy to pass at, you know, a 16-point advantage, because if he wants to win the round, he has to play more cards. I don't really understand that play at all. I think he's kind of wasted his balk. I guess he's going for it, but then he's going to be at a 2-card disadvantage, which puts me in a really, you know, comfortable spot. And I mean, he's going into the next round with, you know, these Harpies, so I guess it's an okay play, because he does get 12 points going into the next round, and I guess maybe he could just straight pass. But I'm not really sold on this play. The other thing I could have done there was played Cantarella on his side because of the villain Trettenmirth. That also would have been a viable strategy. And just continue to play cards. But all in all, like, I'm happy taking a 2-card disadvantage again. And this is the thing, like, people seem to not really care about card advantage, which is fine. What have we got? Swears, a Seer, Peter, Orcs, Emissary, Rot Tosser. I'll get rid of the Rot Tosser because I'm going to probably draw it with the Emissary. Okay, so he's got 12 points, which is annoying. But, again, it's not really the end of the world. So, let's go with Cahir here. This will pull Roach as well, which is nice. We'll put it on the front row.
You wish.
Give us a little bit of protection. Our options are First Light, Rot Tosser, or Roach. So we know that we're going to draw a First Light. We'll take Rot Tosser. And we'll put that on this row with all the 3s, because that can potentially kill all of these, which is nice for us. And if he locks it, we can unlock it with Orcs. There's the lock. And that means that, you know, he doesn't have a lock for Tibor, which is really good for us. I think what we'll do now is Emissary. We'll Emissary the front row, because I can unlock that, you know, later on once he's got another target. So that's worth being aware of. Into... I'm going to go Imperial Brigade, I think. All the points. We could have taken a Harpy. That would have been good. Or a Foglet, actually. Foglet's a good steal target, just because it means that his Fog isn't as worthwhile for him. Alright, what you got? A Dragon. Fair enough. This is still fine. Again, we can still unlock that should we want to, which is pretty good. Is there anything I want to make him discard? If he has extra Wyverns, I could make him discard those, but that's not that useful for us. Let's go with an Emissary.
Please wait, Your Excellency. I'm falling behind.
Rot Tosser. So we can put this on the back row and it's worth 6. I'm not going to put it on this row because it will just kill the cow carcass. But what we can do here is obviously we can unlock this one. Like I said, I'm just waiting for him to play something that I want to unlock. Okay. You want to give me 10 points? That's fine. I could give him 10 points then. This means that playing Cantarella's like not terrible here basically. So let's do that. I mean, alternatively we can play Cantarella after we play Villain Trettenmirth on the next round, because that'll then get burned up. But then I want to play a Seer next round to get Roach back, so I think for this situation, we're better playing this. This is going to offer us First Light or one other card. I think we just take the First Light, because we don't know what the other card is. And I think... Oh no, it's going to offer us a Vicar of our Medic. I thought First Light was there. I guess Vicar of our Medic is after this. If we don't take him, he'll go to the bottom of the deck. But I think we... I don't think there's anything that good in his graveyard, so I think we'll take whatever else there is. First Light. Oh, it was First Light. Yeah, so I knew there was a First Light up there, and I think First Light here is more useful than Vicar of our Medic.
Naivety is a fool's.
So this is going to give him a gold card and put a silver card at the top of his deck. So there's Woodland Spirit, which is going to go where? Probably back row. And there's his Foglets. And this is honestly fine, because we do have clear skies, so let's just do that, I think. And get rid of this. If he has Ragnarok, he has Ragnarok, you know, but I think ultimately clearing skies here is fine. It removes, you know, well, his foglets didn't get pulled, apparently. That was weird. He fogged me and didn't get foglets. Or maybe, I don't even know. Don't even know.
Come to Pappy.
He's going to put that on the front row and buff them all. Ready? Front row's going to get buffed. There they go. I can, you know, remove some points with Peter and stuff, but we'll see what we've got here. Is there anything I want to make him discard? I guess we just target the Wyvern for now and get the 7 points on board. I'm not really too worried here. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that we need to unlock this and it's going to take 2 turns. But maybe we just do that now.
Sometimes I've had about enough.
And we'll lock. It's going to damage whatever I lock. Let's kill this guy, I guess. That doesn't really matter. Like, if we kill anything or lock anything, and he's passed. So, oh shit! It damages the unit. I thought I could unlock it. Oh, I didn't realize that would happen. Okay, we're on 46 points, and we can try and catch this with 2 cards. I'm just trying to work it out. So we've got 10 here, which will put us on 56, which means we're a few behind. This is worth 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we can catch him in 2 cards. That's fine. Okay, so we'll play this. Debuff her. And then actually we could probably play Swears here. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we can play Swears. Discard these. Get rid of that. And we're going into the final round on the same number of points. I forgot that it does damage to opponents in units, so I actually killed the unlock. Oh man, I had such a sneaky plan. And then forgot that Orcs does damage. Freaking Orcs is ruining my life. Ruining my life, Orcs. It's so rude. I think we're still going to win. The only thing is, like, we're probably going to burn up our Asir. But actually, we have 4 cards, so we could play this. We could play the Asir after we play the other cards. Oh, Siri. Nice. So then we just don't get the Roach value. So yeah, let's just open with this. And we can kind of plan how we want to play Tibor. If, you know, if he has points, then that's a pain, but I think we're good here. This is gonna, like I say, burn up his units. So this is the kind of win strategy with Bill and Trent and Mirth. Then we play our Siri. At the moment, these are all getting burned.
You talked enough.
Play some bronze units. And this is really where, if you have gold units and you're against this deck, play your gold units if you have enough that you can do it. And look, we've seen all of our gold cards. Oh, his crones. They're all getting burned. Because it's 8 and then 3 6s. Let's play Tibor. The only risk is we give him a bronze card here, but I think that's honestly okay. He got a Harpy. Yeah, that's not enough to protect against the villain Chattenmirth. And he's not going to be able to remove it, because if he wants to remove it, he'd need to unlock it and then remove it. I guess what he could do is unlock Tibor, and then Tibor gets burned. That's always the risk that you play here. But it turns out he doesn't have it. Like, he already used his Dimirtim Shackles on my Cow Carcass, which I knew. So we'll just burn up all his cards. And now we're in a pretty nice position, 38. We'll take another 10. 48. It doesn't really matter what we put back in our deck. Like, we're not going to draw it anyway. So yeah, he's got to catch 48 with 2 cards. Good luck, Dagon. That is 8. Okay, come on. 25 points. You can do it. 25 points with 1 card. Come on. It's not Tibor, so we'll see what it is. Oh, a Lacerate. Oh no, that's me shown. And this deck is just too consistent, and it's too ridiculous. And you can see, like, round 1, I basically had the round, and if I didn't have the round, I had 2 card advantage. So you either get round 1 or you get card advantage with this deck. Normally, they actually give you round 1. Normally, people don't try and catch you up. And in both cases, we managed to win, which is pretty nice. But like I say, I do expect this deck to get nerfed. I'm hoping that CDPR aren't, like, overzealous with it, and that they don't, you know, go crazy. But I think we can expect to see some adjustments to Tibor. I think we can expect to see adjustments to Golems. In terms of variations on this deck, I know some people like to run Vicavaro Novices. So Vicavaro Novice, if you have an Emissary out, it basically triggers the effect of an Emissary. So what that does is, if I can find them in here, they're in here somewhere. They got like 2 strength, 1 strength, 2 strength. So basically, if you have your Emissary out already, and then you can play your Emissary, and that pulls a Vicavaro Novice, which can then trigger the effect of the Emissary again, which can then pull another Vicavaro Novice, but you can basically chain out your novices with your emissaries. That's kind of the plan there. But But I expect that if they change Vic of Varro Novice, what they'll do is just make it so Vic of Varro Novice can't pull Vic of Varro Novice in the same way that Emissary can't pull Emissary. That's maybe the change I would expect to see. And I'm hoping that CDPR don't go, you know, and nerf this completely into the ground, but I definitely think that Nilfgaard does need some adjustments, because this deck, like I say, is ridiculous. Anyway, guys, if you like my videos, even if you don't like this deck, then maybe hit that thumbs up button. And if you happen to have Amazon Prime or Amazon Prime Video and you want to support me on Twitch, like I say, you can always subscribe, but you do have to refresh it every month. Beyond that, have a fantastic day. Thanks for watching, and I will hopefully catch you guys in the next video. Bye!